Howl at the Moon, it's the Digital Wolf Podcast with Jessica, Shelby, and Paul. Now to kick off this episode, here's Paul.
Thank you to the Chameleon's Closet for sponsoring this episode. Shop local at 917 East 9th Street, Rochester, Indiana. They have something for all shades of life. This podcast is also being sponsored by WROI 92.1 Giant FM. And welcome to the minds behind Digital Wolf Magazine, Shelby and Jessica.
Hey.
Hi. All right. Well,
This
episode is going to be more about Digital Wolf, how we started, where we're going, and why we do what we do. Currently, we are working on our third edition of Digital Wolf magazine, and it's called Storefront Stories. It's going to be focused on the downtown Rochester, the history of Rochester. So it's going to be like a past, present, future, where we kind of show some history, we show what's going on currently and how this town could thrive or the progression of where this town could go.
Mm-hmm. It comes out April 7th.
Yes.
During the pink moon.
We always release on a full moon. It's something we started the first edition, and I love themes, and I want to stick with the full moon because it's Digital Wolf.
It's catchy.
Very catchy.
So
right now, the third edition, we're currently writing stories. We're getting started on the stories, reaching out to those interested in being involved in this edition, sharing their side of, what it's like to live in Rochester, what it's like to support local, being a part of the community.
But we're just getting a start on it. We're kind of just pulling everything together
right
now. Crunch time will be March, but
yes,
that will be the busy time for us. But we've done a little writing, taken a couple pictures downtown, but we have way more to do. And we talked to several businesses that all, for the most part, seem to be pretty on board with what our magazine is all about. So.
And that means I can avoid being in the magazine.
Oh, nope.
Right? Sorry for your luck.
You're part of the network now.
I tried.
Yeah, so on that segue to what a creative native is, you, Paul Moose, are a creative native. So a creative native is someone who creates art or...
Let's read the definition.
Yeah, I can't get to it fast enough.
First mag.
I don't know if what I do is considered art, though.
Oh, it is.
Well, you're still, yeah.
It's creative, too.
Yep.
And you're good at what you do.
Because it was on the website.
Compliments.
I know, I changed it, though. So, because this isn't right. So someone who possesses a skill or a talent, or they create and they do it either for profit, leisure, for their community, or fundraisers. So these people, like with our first edition, they were all from Indiana. Some people were still in Indiana, but some were out, that they have grown and gone to places like Portland. We had Ed Jenkins, who is just a traveling photographer. He's literally all over the place. Yeah, all over the world. Mm-hmm. But they were all from Indiana, so that kind of tied us all in together. So they were somebody who either was they were a photographer. Well, I can look at it, I guess.
Tattoo
artist. Yeah. Let's see.
Extreme
we had
sports kind of too.
Brewmasters. There were all kinds of different people who created, and we wanted to highlight these people.
We even had a dentist.
Yeah. She's awesome, and she's very involved in the community. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Dr. Rich now. She just got married. But she is very involved in the community, and a lot of these people are, and they just inspired us, and we wanted to show others what they were doing. So the second edition, we had the theme of mixed expressions, which my business is Mixed Medium Design, and Shelby is Expressions by Shelby Lopez. So when we do things together, we're mixed expressions. But the focus is art, community, and collaboration. So this whole magazine project has been a collaboration of people working together. And everybody was going in the same direction or felt the same as we did. Like, they were passionate about what they did, or passionate with how they volunteered in their community.
Some ended up collaborating afterwards together that never had before. So
yeah, so it's like there's this network of people who are doing different things, and like, hey, let's work on a project this way, or hey, I know somebody that does this. So we have these people who are just very talented and willing to just continue, working in these areas of art or services.
And they inspired us and ended up inspiring each other, inspiring the community. So the first edition went way farther, and that's what took us to the second because of that.
Yeah, we had no idea that we were going to go into a second edition, and all the people that we were explaining what we were doing as we were finding our language, they're just like, why, you're going to do another one? You're going to have another one? You could do this and this. And we're like, all right, So.
And we emphasize big time on supporting local collaboration over competition and hope to inspire others for their passions. And the end result was a powerful thing. It's been a domino effect really ever since. So.
Yeah, I like the quote that creativity is not a competition. And we're all just trying to be creative. We're doing our own things out in the world and trying to just live a good life, I guess, but also getting to
build others up.
Yeah,
don't put them down
inspire
to feel
other
powerful.
people
Yeah.
and, get people to want to work together with others. Or if they do have a skill, sometimes they're maybe nervous about showing that skill. We had a lot of people who were kind of
hidden
set
gems
back
of the
about,
community. I call them hidden gems.
But there you go, yeah. So that's kind of what Digital Wolf is, our first and second edition. Like Shelby said, April 7th is the third edition, Storefront Stories. And then in October,
Halloween.
Yeah, it'll be released on Halloween, a full moon. And we're going to have an open house that day. More details will be released later on. But Shelby's going to explain more about that.
I have a little idea to make it the theme, the title, The Sixth Sense. And because it's playing in October, it was perfect. So that's why we're releasing it on Halloween. We're going to feature artists and local abstract talent like we did before, but in sections that will represent each of the human senses. The 5 senses are the 5 main tools that humans use to perceive the world. Sections of sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch will represent local photographers, incense makers, musicians, chefs, dressmakers, and more. 2 mediums, one from Warsaw and the other from Winmac, will also be featured in the 4th edition, representing the 6th sense, along with some paranormal investigations. So,
sounds like a good time.
Interesting.
Yeah,
sure.
There's a lot of known ghost stories around town and around the county, and so I think that'll be
put them to the test with 2 different
mediums
that I've never met either.
Yeah,
so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we have going on for this year. We have some other editions that we want to release, but maybe time-wise might not be until next year. But we'll be doing some more artist-featured editions.
The
and
possibilities are endless.
Oh, yeah,
really.
we
So,
can.
to be continued.
Absolutely. So we wanted to go back a little bit to where Digital Wolf started, where the name came from.
Humble beginnings.
We have humble beginnings, yes. So Digital Wolf was first it was a magazine idea. We all were doing digital advertising, marketing, sharing, talking, communicating, everything is just digital, but I am someone that likes to hold something in my hand and look at it and read. And I'm not all digital, but we have a way to be digital wolves,
Print is not dead.
Yes, print is not dead. So being a wolf is, someone who is out there, almost like a go-getter, like someone that is fierce. That's kind of what we aspire to do. And so Digital Wolf kind of was just started as a portfolio project where actually it started off as my portfolio, and that was just not interesting to be all about myself. So
essentially a lone wolf project in the beginning.
Yeah, and it was just going to be for something that I could advertise at markets and show my my work inside of a different type of portfolio than a binder that we were taught in school to use. And I just that was just not always that interesting, and I wanted to show a different way. Well, it just didn't really go anywhere. And then in 2018, I was sitting in a graphic design class, and it was all about magazines and magazine covers and photographers and designers working together to get these awesome shots. And it was a lot about magazine covers, and that's what really got me excited. And I'm like, man, maybe I need to go back to Digital Wolf and do something. Well, I'm sitting in this class, and I cannot wait to message Shelby. And I wasn't allowed to have my phone out or anything like that. And I just I can't wait to message Shelby about this. I just know she's going to be on board. And as soon as the class is over, I sent her an email, and then we just began right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had met Jessica while I was working for the local newspaper. And not long after, Jessica and I had reached and actually connected, because it took a while. It took a few months for us to connect, but not long after we actually started collaborating, I found out I was expecting my third child. My life was changing, and pretty fast. Not necessarily for the bad, but just really unexpectedly, and I was going with the flow. I loved my job as a photographer at the newspaper. I really did. But I knew that I needed a new schedule. I was always out and about, working for the newspaper, trying to get the action of what was going on in Rochester all the time. And I needed a new schedule that would accommodate more time for my baby that was going to come in the spring. So when Jessica threw the idea of the magazine, I saw it as an opportunity to still stick with my journalism while still being able to make my own schedule. I'm not going somewhere every day. A lot of this is from home. I mean, yes, we do interviews and we go places, but I mean,
it's all done digitally.
Right. Most of it is digitally. So that's only like a couple handfuls out of the year that we actually go somewhere with it. The rest is interviews and video chats. So anyways, once I quit the newspaper, third week of October in 2018, November 2018, a month later, I started my own studio and work from home and started also the magazine. So a lot of change was taking place, but my gut instinct told me that we were going in the right direction. The opportunity just felt right, so I went with it.
Yeah, I just had I had a gut instinct too. I just kind of, I don't know, just I knew like that was the reason why I was in this class, and that's just the direction, because I had this collage of just digital wolf stuff, and I was really inspired by USA Graphic Design magazine. The style is very similar. It's very clean cut and organized and not so wordy. You know, it was more heavily photo based,
and that's why you're so picky about the quality too. We have a very heavy quality because Jessica is OCD about it, and but that's what we get the most compliments on, really, is the quality. When they're opening them, they see the vivid images. And
these images are taken from all different types of photographers as well. So we go to certain places and do our own photography and journalistic approaches, but for people who we can't meet with, like they live out of town, they have their own photographers, or they're a photographer and they're sending us the information. So they'll tell us kind of like what they're doing, their story, and then we rewrite it to share their story in third person. So it's not like I'm doing this and I'm doing this, because that's really hard to say. Like even though you're maybe proud of what you've done, it's really hard to get that out there. So having someone else share your story for you and being proud of you, you know, like that makes you feel good too. But just being able to see your art in, you know, in another form, or seeing a picture of it somewhere else and just saying like, hey, you know, that's me, I made that, you know, like that hopefully makes other people feel good, as well as, you know, we want to show people off.
I mean, then some we got real personal with, like Joshua James with the first edition.
Tattoo artist, Kokomo.
We went to the studio. I was super huge pregnant in my third trimester. And
beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And we did a photo shoot. We did some interviews, and that was included in the magazine. Another one was Chibi Squeegee. I was once again in my third trimester right before this was about to
That was a late night. We were there at like midnight, because that's when they like to. That's when they get creative, and they just busted out some prints for us, and we did photo shoots.
Oh, it was so much fun.
It was really neat.
I got to go in their paint room and take all kinds of abstract pictures that we actually ended up using. It was perfect. It was perfect. So. She introduced me to sprint cars in the second edition and the pain of mud, but the fun of it. We went in the middle of the track. Center field.
Infield.
Okay,
Infield.
Yeah. See, I'm still learning, but Jessica knows all about it.
Well, yeah.
Right. And I even got to explore the downtown streets of Indianapolis, 2 separate occasions with the second. So, I mean, some of it is hands-on, and then others already have their stuff together. So.
And that's where, and the other ones are, some of the stories are fiction. Like we are using our creative skills to create stories as
like
well.
Mannequins?
Yeah, and so like
that
I
was
wanted
Brian,
our
amazing.
co-writer. He is a local, and we are so glad to have him, because he is
so talented
and hilarious, and I love his like. So for the behind the
He's weird like us.
Yeah, we're all weirdos. We're the weird ones, mister.
Right. Exactly.
So Brian wrote, he about like the mannequins from their version. So they were like, because they are real people. I shouldn't say they're like real people. They are people.
Right.
Roxy and Zelda were fantastic to work with.
Tons of sass.
Yeah, very sassy, and you can see that in the magazine with all their pictures
They're
and their
shy
outfits.
sometimes, though,
Yeah.
so.
So that's what
You see 'em in
there are
public.
others we had to kind of bring out a little bit of them. But Brian is one of our co-editors. Lauren Shalley helped us. She was Brian was a co-writer throughout the second edition. We gave him promotion, and then Lauren was a co-editor. Lauren Shalley, and Shelby and I are the project managers. We still working on our titles, but Shelby is one of the co-writers and creative writers, does the photography at the places we attend.
And Jessica does every single part of the designing through the whole magazine, page to page.
Well, I need some backup, so we definitely have a new person coming on. Justin Kleinricher is going to be a backup designer and
Help her out a
checking
little
all my pages, and it's a lot of work, and
does a
I
great job.
love it. I do love it, but we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I need someone to back me up a little bit.
And you guys were talking about coming up with titles for what you guys do. I think we covered that at the beginning. You're the brains behind their operation.
We brainstorm sometimes. It just comes out of
Yeah.
nowhere, really. That's
We're
what,
just like-
that's the instinct part that we were talking
Yeah.
about.
That's the fun part. We're like, hey, I have this word. I want to make a title. Here's some other words, and then we're like this, and this. I knew you would get it,
it's so much fun. And it'll
yeah.
be at random times of the day,
Yep.
when we're not expecting it. Either.
Yeah.
Hey, think of this. Okay, I'm brainstorming real fast. How
Yep.
about this? Perfect.
And even though we didn't probably need
So-
it at that moment, that's just where it's just like this
We can use
creativity
it later.
sparks, and
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Inspiration.
and it's fun working with Brian because he's very knowledgeable with his vocabulary, and so he came up with Storefront Stories, which is the third edition title. We said to make the people who make Rochester a small town to reckon with.
Yes,
There are a
love
lot
that.
of crazy, great, talented people here,
Right.
and we want to focus on Rochester, even though we want to bring some people from outside. It's all about networking,
But
a
we're
digital
here to-
network. But we also
We need to build up our community.
Yeah.
That's
So
we need to
what
do.
can you do in your own individual community? So take that back to where you live and say how can you get involved?
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna show in the third edition is what is there to do here? There's a lot of negative talk. There's you're gonna have that everywhere.
It's because all the closings and stuff lately, but it all comes around in the end. So if we could just
Yeah.
build it up, we can make the community better instead of talking down and making it
right.
worse.
Yeah. What can people do instead of speaking about it? Social media is very easy for us to.
Fall into that trap.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I didn't like this restaurant because this waiter did this. I'm like, did you talk to your waiter?
Yeah,
just
just
little
post
things like
it.
that. But I mean, that's just that's off subject a little bit. But
Just being negative.
yeah,
because of the
we
difference it
enjoy
can
where we
do.
live. We
You
want
can
others.
manifest it.
Right.
So, and we're manifesting it. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive things going on in Rochester that I think people forget about or maybe don't know about, and we want to elaborate on the shopping, the dining, the stuff you can do there, stuff you can do in this
You don't
awesome
have
town.
to go to South Bend or Indianapolis
Right.
or Kokomo to really enjoy yourself or get things that you need. It's right here. It's right around the corner. Yeah, it's great sometimes to travel. I mean, I love traveling.
And that's okay
don't
to
get
go
me
visit
wrong.
other places. I think that's a kind of a
Right.
common misconception as well. You have to support these locations in our town. You don't have
my-
to.
yeah.
You going somewhere else helps build their local community. But in turn, if you have friends coming to your town, take them out and take them to the restaurants that are local and help build our community.
Right.
Like
my
it's
grandma
just-
always said, the grass is green where you water it on the
Yeah.
other side.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to be my quote of the day.
right?
Going to have to put that up somewhere
Thanks,
for
Grandma.
everybody to see.
Well, I'll make you a sign.
We'll just put Shelby's grandma.
Right. Barbara will follow it.
Yeah. Shout out. She is a good supporter big supporter of Digital Wolf, so she definitely deserves a shout out.
Oh yeah, she's an amazing person. So for our closing, I think that a good thing for us to discuss would be our goals, because we have similar goals, but we have different minds too.
Yeah.
So it's good.
You can go ahead and
Both
share.
of our-
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I just think that my goal is to allow Digital Wolf to grow as much as possible. With as much work as we do, I feel like that's pretty inevitable.
Yeah. I don't
It's doing
do.
it right before our eyes. So.
Yeah. So with Shelby saying that, we are going to be branching out, and our official business name will be Digital Wolf Network, and we will have a podcast, a magazine. We hope to do some publishing because, that's basically what we're doing with the magazine. It's a published product. So we hope to be able to publish other people's.
We met some local authors.
Yeah.
And, I myself love to write, and in the future, if we're that, maybe I'll write a book. Maybe Brian will write a book. He's an amazing, talented writer that he definitely has potential too. There's so many of that in our community that we haven't even met yet. So,
yep, and
possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and we'd like to host other people's podcasts. If you're interested, hit us up.
Make special guest appearances.
Yes. with the podcast, it's a new medium for us, and we're very happy to have Paul or Moose.
Either one's fine.
I know. I like Moose. I like the
Moosey.
the character behind it. Yeah. So with that, we're very happy to have someone who has more knowledge in the in the media production area with WROY's Moose in the Afternoon. If you're tuning in, 92.1. Shout out to our awesome sponsor.
Online as well at WROYFM.com.
Yeah. But that's the thing is we're going to be learning a new medium based on other people suggesting that we do this. We're just hey, what about a podcast? Now we can dive into each article that we wrote and explain more of that race that we went to or the photo shoots that we've done, because we can't always explain that on paper.
Yeah, it'll lose the readers if it's too much to read. So by speaking it, it's
and we get to share other people's stories, let them come on.
Yes.
And
you
just
get to
really
hear sexy voices.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Moose
but
in
seriously.
the afternoon.
Yes. But basically, we just see high hopes for the future. And with Jessica, Brian, me, and Bren now.
Bren Wilson.
From the first edition is coming back
Welcome.
for the third and hopefully fourth. It's an endless possibility, so we're going to go far. I know it.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. That's goosebumps there.
I know it.
As long as you don't put me out of a job in radio, I think we're good.
No.
No, we'll just give you a job, Digital Wolf. Woo!
I
Yeah.
won't ever allow this. You're good. I'm comfortable now, but no live.
If you want to be involved in the third edition, we have ad spaces open, some
Any
stories.
questions, message us, email us, Facebook us.
There's
You
plenty of
either on Digital Wolf personally through Jessica Schaefer on Facebook, or
Shelby Lopez.
Paul
Zarman.
or Paul Zarman.
Yeah. There's a lot of us.
Brian.
And it really, clearly it's digital. There's multiple ways to get a hold of us. We have social medias.
Just do it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Shelby. Thanks, Jessica. Look forward to the next episode of Digital Wolf Podcast, as well as the next edition of Digital Wolf Magazine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Keep howling at the moon. This has been the Digital Wolf Podcast. Stay tuned for another episode, and be sure to pick up the latest edition of Digital Wolf Magazine online at digitalwolfmag.com.